What's up guys, it's Johnny here from RetroPlay Games, and I use the Grand Archive print and play tool to print every single card in the game. Let's take a look. Okay, so as I mentioned in the previous video where I covered Grand Archive, Weebs of the Shore is really interested in getting the game out there. They're interested in growing the player base pre-launch, and they really want you guys to try the game. So the demo decks are great. They're a good introduction to the mechanics of the game, getting started and learning the basics, but the real flavor and customization and the overall feel of the game doesn't come into play until you get to start using the different elements. Those are available in the starter decks, and there's already a pretty vibrant community of players active on the Grand Archive Discord as well as the Grand Archive Marketplace Discord. There's community-run tournaments, so people are using the deck building tools that are out there, build.sylvie.org that was fan-made, as well as the index here on the Grand Archive website. And for those of you that prefer to play in paper format, I know there's a lot of people at my store where that is the preference and they don't really want to go the digital route using Tabletop Simulator. There is a print and play option here. So if you go to index.gatcg.com, you can check out the entire card database that's available and will be available, well, minus a couple of cards that are introduced in the new Ultra Edition. So this is all of the cards that will be available in the first edition Kickstarter set that is starting to ship and get into hands now. I think there's 5 or 6 new cards that are being introduced in Ultra Edition to kind of help balance things out, give the Tamer class a little bit of a boost in terms of its competitiveness. Those weren't available, so I did have to add those in afterwards, but what I did was went to this website. You can browse through, search cards, and you'll see the print and play feature up at the top here. So what we want to do, for example, we'll select this Savage Slash. We want to add this to print and play, so we'll click the plus button here. And then when we go to the print and play section, that card is available. So what people are doing is they'll build decks, and then they'll come here, add the cards into the print and play feature, and then you can print them out either on paper or cardstock, what have you. So what I wanted to do is get everything done all in one go. So it took me, I think, about an hour and a half to go through. I went through all 288 cards in the database, plus the additional cards that are coming out for Ultra Edition. I added them into the print and play list here. I included one of each of the material deck cards, because you only need one of each of the material deck cards to play. You don't run multiple copies of them. And then play sets of all the other cards that were available. So I generated a file that has all of that. I saved it to PDF instead of actually sending it to a printer. So I'm going to have a link to that in the description box below if you guys want to use the file I used. It's in PDF format. You can take it to a printing service and have it all printed out on nice cardstock. And then I utilized a service that actually did all the cutting for me, thankfully, because it was like 101 pages worth of cards. And quite frankly, I didn't want to spend the rest of my life cutting out over 900 to 1,000 cards by hand. So I did have a service that included the cutting. I definitely recommend doing that. And now we can take a look at the results. The box that I had in the beginning of the video has the entire Grand Archive printed set, one of each material deck, play sets of all the other cards. Let's take a look at it together. Alright, let's get into it, guys. So again, the entire Grand Archive Ultra Edition card set, play sets of all of the standard cards as well as one of each of the material deck cards. It's going to be allowing me to play test for days. So let's take a look at what we got here. Alright. Like I said, I generated a PDF file of all the cards. And I took it to a printing service. I had them do it up on cardstock. Now, of course, the cardstock quality is nowhere near what you're going to get from Weebs of the Shore. Any of you that have picked up the demo decks or have gotten your hands on any of the promos they've been giving out or sample cards, they do a really great job with their printing. The backs of the cards are embossed. The print quality is really good for the production stuff, so I'm excited for that to launch and finally get some boxes in store. I've got a huge order of boxes that are going to be coming for the Alter Edition release. I am hoping to get my hands on some Kickstarter product as well that we can open up on the channel here. Because again, those boxes are where you're going to find some of those really cool collector ultra rares of the champions and stuff. But you know, if not, Alter Edition is going to do. We're going to open a bunch of that on the channel when it launches as well. Going to have a bunch of that available on the website right now. You can see in the bottom right hand corner and in the description box below, you can pre-order your Grand Archive Alter Edition from Retroplay Games right now. But in the meantime, before launch, like I said, Weebs of the Shore really wants people to play the game. They want you to experiment with it. They want people building decks. They want to get you hyped and get you ready for the launch of Alter Edition to the general public. So I took it one step further. I printed every single card. So let's go through and take a look at some of these. So Bestial Frenzy here, this is the new, one of the newer cards that's being introduced in Alter Edition. Now, of course, I don't, like I said, that, you know, the printing quality here isn't 100% amazing. That wasn't the point of this. There are other services people use to make their own proxies, so make playing cards. There's a couple of other services online. You could upload the PDFs or upload the images to those services if you wanted to go uber high quality. But for me, this is perfect, just for playtesting purposes and again to tide me over and the community until launch. So my plan for this at my stores, I'm going to hand this out to the play group, anybody that's interested in getting started with Grand Archive, and encourage them to print these off as well. I know a lot of my players at the store are more interested in sitting down and doing paper games than they are doing the digital formats on Tabletop Simulator. Totally understand that. And so I'm going to encourage everybody to get their hands on a set of these if they can. We're going to do some deck building, we're going to do some learning, and then I want to run a pre-release event for Grand Archive in an unofficial capacity. I'm not going to get any product early as far as I'm aware at this point in time, but do an unofficial pre-release event and get, you know, keep the hype train going. I'm going to give away some store credit, going to give away a booster box to the winner. So hopefully that's going to be something that we're going to be able to do. Do have some sleeves here, once again, going with the Game Genic. So the material deck stays separate from the rest of the cards. I opted for black for those, and then I have all of the white Game Genic sleeves that I had available in the store. It's still not going to be enough to actually sleeve up all of the cards, but the idea is I'm going to sleeve up the entire collection of cards so I can just swap things in and out as I go, and then once the actual release happens, I can swap out the cards that I have for the real versions of the cards as I get them. So I'm just going to open this up because I do want to see what these look like sleeved. Haven't really had a chance to take a look at this yet. I had them printed at work and then they just kind of sat, and I went to the shop for a little bit, did some work there, and now finally I'm home and we can take a look at this together. I thought that would be more fun than just sitting downstairs and sleeving them up myself. So here we go. We're going to get one of these Game Genic sleeves out just so we can kind of test what they're going to be like in the sleeves after we get going on that. And then I'll grab one of these decks and we'll take a look through some of the cards here. So these are done using like a business card grade cardstock. Like I said, it's not super high quality like what Weebs of the Shore is going to do, but I mean, for play testing, you know, this is great. I didn't have to cut them out, which is a huge plus, so I'm willing to take the hit on quality in terms of saving the amount of time and frustration and energy that it would take to do that. And again, the print quality is actually really good. So Lorraine Crux Knight, we'll just go through this. Young Beast Bonder, one of the new cards. Spark Fairy, also one of the new cards. Sword of Avarice, Sword of Adversity, Galatine, Sword of Sunlight, Crystal of Empowerment, Beast Bond Boots. So again, there's going to be one of each of the material deck cards like these champions and the regalia items and weapons that you see there. And then cards like these Woodland Squirrels, there'd be 4 copies. The Assassin Skill, Banner Knight, Blissful Calling, Coup de Grace, Crusader of Asa. And yeah, I mean, these feel good. You can see there's kind of some tattering on the edges, so I opted for the white sleeves because I think that's going to help to hide some of those imperfections and make them look a little bit cleaner. Fervent Beastmaster, Gildas, Harness Mana. I mean, you really could, these are, you know, the print quality on these is beautiful, actually. I have no complaints. Like I said, this is just to tide me over until I get to experience the release of Alter Edition that's going to be coming up in April. Super excited about it. A lot of the guys at the shop, players at the shop, super excited about it. We've got tons of pre-orders that have already gone out, and I still have a decent amount of product left for anyone who wants to pre-order. Prices are very reasonable. We're selling them literally at map, as low as we can possibly go on these. I want this game to be successful. I want to pump boxes out, work with my distributor to get as much of this as I can. So if you're thinking about pre-ordering it or you want to take the plunge, definitely pre-order from Retroplay Games. We're going to hook you up. Disintegrate, Embertail Squirrel. Really excited to see what Weebs of the Shore does with the organized play aspect of the game. There hasn't really been any more announcements that way in terms of what they're going to be doing. I know that the platform that they use, similar to Gem or the Konami portal or the Wizards portal, is currently in beta, but there's no update yet as to whether that is going to be launching alongside the Alter Edition boxes or what's going to be happening with that. There is organized play in the pipeline. Anybody that pre-orders a certain amount of product through their distributor, 10 units of the product, so it's a combination of booster boxes or starter decks, is going to get event packs. Those event packs are going to be probably the best way to get your hands on foils in the game, because foils are actually relatively uncommon in the actual booster boxes when you're cracking packs, which is great. They've made it exciting to actually pull foil cards again, not the Hasbro, Wizards of the Coast, other company, you know, idea where everything is special and now nothing is special because everything is jammed full of foils and jammed full of collector this and special that and special drops and all of that other stuff the other companies are doing. Weebs of the Shore is getting back to basics on trading card games and really putting the collectible aspect back into it. I think we have to go through 3 piles of these, or 4 piles of these. I'm not sure how long it's going to take for us to see each unique card. And then after I'm done, I'm going to start sleeving these up and I'm going to get ready to play some more games in the store. I had a guy come in, one of my friends today, was at the shop. It's Warhammer night tonight, and he didn't end up having his opponent come out, so we played some Grand Archive instead. Had a great time with it. I beat him badly, which is great because he deserves to be taken down a peg. Just kidding, love you, Billy. Thanks for supporting the store. Erratic Bolt. These are some of the advanced elements. So we've got Arcane there. These are Crux. So as your hero, or your champion rather, gets to the top tier, level 3, they are unlocking an advanced element. So there's Luxum, Crux, Arcane, and Terra. Songbird, and again, beautiful artwork, all original artwork. Weebs of the Shore has contracted all brand new artists to do the artwork for the game. It is absolutely beautiful. Some of the artwork is, there's going to be alt art editions of the cards that come out in Alter. So the first edition artwork is not going to be the same as what you get in Alter edition. So even though it's an unlimited product, they've still gone, gone the extra mile there to make it enticing for collectors to buy both products. There's special stuff you can only get in each set. There's kind of some fuzz that's coming off the side of these. They're a little bit rough cuts, so there we go there. Steel Frenzy, Nullifying Lantern. Just kind of wanted to go through and give you guys a chance to see all the cards, and I do really want to start covering a lot of Grand Archive content on here like I do with the other card games, because I'm super excited about it. Grand Crusader's Ring is going to be an absolute staple in every single deck, guaranteed. So just to kind of give you guys a bit of a rundown of how the cards work here. So they have a cost in the top. These blue costs are paid for from your memory. You put cards in your hand, from your hand into your memory to pay for these gold costs on standard cards. And then you can materialize cards from your material deck once at the start of each turn. You use the cards in the memory to pay these costs. The element is indicated here. And in terms of weapons, they have durability counters, so you can only use them a certain number of times before they are used up and have to be banished. And then this is the attack value of this particular weapon. Taming. These are the champion cards. So champions start off as just a basic elemental spirit, or there's also a normal spirit that has no element. And then as you progress through the game with each turn, you have the opportunity to level up your champion from your material deck. And that's going to give you access to some different effects. It's going to unlock different elements for you, and then also make your champion get a little bit more health, get a little bit more powerful. There's a lot of different champions to choose from with this with this introductory set, the Altar Edition. There's quite a few different champions. So you have a warrior, there's an assassin, a mage, a tamer, and they all have very unique play styles, and then you can customize them with the different elements as well. So, you know, a fire tamer versus a water tamer versus a wind tamer is going to play all three different play styles. So there's really a lot of depth and customization that's available in the game. The fast mechanic here that you see, there's fast and slow action cards and stuff, is similar to instants and sorceries in Magic. If any of you are familiar with Magic, determines the speed at which you can play the spell. So can you respond to what your opponent is doing, or can you only do these things on your turn? Your allies are like your creatures that you would summon out in Magic, or monsters that you would summon out in Yu-Gi-Oh! They have a damage value. They can rest themselves to attack, turn sideways, and then this is the indicator of their health there. Some cards have a class bonus, so if I was playing this in a warrior deck, then that would unlock the class bonus on the card. Sometimes there's other conditions that need to be met, so in this case I need to have the warrior class as well as have my champion at level 2 or higher. The levels currently top out at level 3. Not sure if there's going to be any change or expanding that, if they're going to introduce level 4 champions or anything like that. Again, the game is brand new, it's just getting started, so we don't have a ton of information. Page, Tempered Steel. Love the artwork in this. Really excited to get my hands on some actual foils. For any of you that are interested in diving in and starting your collections early, you can jump on the Grand Archive Marketplace Discord. There are foils and promos and things like that available. There are playmats, which I kind of regret not getting my hands on one. So I like to theme the playmat for my videos based on the game that I'm doing. So I got a Pokemon mat, Flesh and Blood mat, Magic mat, Yu-Gi-Oh mat. But I don't have a Grand Archive mat yet, and I'm gonna have to change that because the artwork is beautiful, and they also use a microfiber material, so it's not like the standard mousepad material that you get with the majority of playmats. It's actually microfiber and has stitched edging, so very durable and also very soft to make sure that there's no damage to your cards. Native Shock, Disintegrate, Embertail Squirrel, Adopted Rhapsody, Flame Sweep. Try not to cover it up with my hands here as I go through. So these are the Kickstarter artworks. So this is what the first edition cards are going to look like. I did try to get fancy with it and print off some of the alt art versions, but it just included the standard artwork for each of the champions and the cards that I tried to do it with. Frankly, I was too lazy to go back in and manually edit in the alternate artwork from each individual card, but I see a lot of people are doing that with the Tabletop Simulator decks, are pointing that software at the alt art images and starting to use those in their decks that they're playing online as well. And the alt arts are just absolutely beautiful. Those serialized collector ultra rare cards, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I hope I'm lucky enough to get my hands on one before they are all in the hands of collectors and start to get massive in price. So you can see we're in the water element here. There's wind, water, and fire for the basic elements, and then once you hit level 3 with your champion, you get access to those advanced elements that we were talking about before. Idle Sweep, Water Barrier. We're getting into the wind here. So far I've experimented a little bit with water. The starter Sylvie deck, the Tamer class starter deck is water. So I did play a little bit of that, and then I started fooling around with the wind element a little bit because I really like the tricky mechanics that it has. Oops. So it's all about pulling cards back to your hand so you can abuse their effects more than once per turn, or bouncing cards back to your opponent's hand, make them waste resources. Water is the standard kind of control type that you would expect it to be. And fire is the aggressive additional damage and burn effects and things like that. Pretty standard in terms of the archetyping for those. But like I said, this is a very unique game. The gameplay mechanics are unlike anything I've tried before in terms of resource management, using cards from your hand to pay for your costs, and then you get those cards back, but you banish cards at random that you might have put down there, so you have to be really strategic with the cards that you choose to pay for these costs, because you may not get them back into your hand. It may be something that you end up needing later on. What was on the top of this deck? Let me just see here. It was the Lorraine Crux Knight, so we'll choose the Spark Fairy deck, and then that Frostsworn Paladin one, and I think that's going to take us through all of the unique individual cards. I'm not going to go through every single pile with you. I just did want to take the opportunity to showcase every single card in the game, show off the print quality, which, like I said, this is, business card quality cardstock. If you want to take advantage of one of those services that I mentioned before, feel free to do so, but this is more than enough for my needs. Young Beast Bonder, Tome of Sacred Lightnings. I think we are kind of getting into some duplicates here. I feel like we've seen the Young Beast Bonder already. But those were the additional cards that I had to add that weren't available in the index. They are available on the build.sylvie.org deck building tool, again made by Pichu Fan is the name of the programmer that developed that. He's a member of the community, did it as a passion project. You can buy him a coffee on there, donate a little bit to the cause. It's a very, very handy tool. It walks you through, gives you like a tutorial of deck building. You can get like the basic cards that you would need based on the hero that you choose, or champion that you choose rather, or you can just bypass that altogether and jump right into building your own decks as well. Grey Wolf, Honorable Vanguard, Ravaging Tempest, and you can tell that they've really put a lot of investment into the artwork too. So I'm not sure exactly the specific cards. You can check out gatcg.com if you want to see specifically what the difference is going to be between the first edition artwork and the Alter Edition artwork on any given card. But the artwork quality on a lot of the cards has improved significantly, and the Alter Edition cards look absolutely beautiful. For any of them that did end up getting an artwork upgrade, the art is absolutely stunning. Scry the Skies, Strategic Planning. So these are the normal elements, will slot into any deck. And you can, I mentioned the class bonus mechanic. You don't have to play the card. So for the one that I gave you the example there was the warrior card. You don't have to play that in a warrior deck. It's just going to be more effective and have more effects and do more damage, etc. Whatever the effect may be if you do. This particular card has a mechanic called Floating Memory. So if this card is destroyed, goes to the graveyard, you can actually banish it from your graveyard to pay the cost of materializing cards from your material deck, so they generate significant card advantage. Floating Memory is a big mechanic in the game. And the Blazing Direwolf here has a mechanic called Pride. So your hero's level needs to be at the level that the Pride is indicating on the card in order for that card to obey you. So if you want to attack with it or take advantage of the intercept mechanic, your champion has to be at that level in order for the card to successfully obey. And you can see again the standard kind of burn mechanics there. There are ways to manipulate the level of your hero using cards like this. Your champion gets +1 as long as you fulfill the +1 level, as long as you fulfill the condition. There's other cards that you can use to do that as well. That's specific to the champion class or the tamer class, and then adding cards to or in terms of the pride mechanic, and then adding levels to your champion for other classes is going to do things like a mage will have spells that deal more damage based on how high your level is and stuff. It's really cool. I love the level up mechanic. I really like the idea of Flesh and Blood, where you play as a hero, and then they've taken it the extra mile with Grand Archive, where not only do you play as the hero, but you have to level them up, you have to equip them with stuff from your material deck. It's not all just there on the field. So it introduces a lot more strategic choices in terms of how the game progresses. Based on the decisions that you make of when to materialize things, do you level up, do you sit back and play more allies and, you know, materialize more support items. Mist Resonance, Mistbound Watcher, Restorative Slash, Seafaring Mercenary, Shrouded Mist. These are a little bit stuck. Tide Diviner, Basin Protector, Tune with the Wings, Bushwhack Bandit. There's the light encounters for the magic using classes. And you can see that bounces ally you don't control to hand. There's board wipe cards. Help get rid of all those pesky allies. Swift Recruit has that. So Intercept allows you to, let's say I'm going to get attacked by an opponent's ally, and this guy is unrested, he's awake on the field. I can intercept, so I can get him to take the damage. And then this card is particularly good for that, actually, because not only can I intercept, but then he dies and I get the floating memory mechanic. Same with, I think, Library Witch, or another one of the cards also has that intercept mechanic, and then when it dies you get to draw a card. So some really cool strategies available in Grand Archive. Reckless Conversion, Crux Sight, again some of those more advanced elements. Tangible Geist. There's some Luxem for the Assassin class. Really excited to see what other new classes they come out with as well. I love this card. Somebody in the Discord was selling this, and it was super hard not to buy it. That artwork is just absolutely beautiful. I am super partial to the Tamer class. I just feel like I'm drawn to it, and I really want it to be competitive. So I'm glad that they introduced those extra cards in the Altar Edition to help make the Tamer class a little bit more competitively viable. Okay, and then I think we got one more deck here, so the Frostsworn Paladin one, and then that is going to be every single card in Grand Archive. Here we go. My arm's getting tired holding up these decks to the camera as if they're incredibly heavy. They're not, but sitting in an awkward position. So excited to get on camera. Didn't think about the ergonomics of my station. Practice good posture, folks. Frostsworn Paladin, Wind Resonance Bauble. These are going to be more of the item kind of cards. Drawn Blade, Channeling Stone, Orb of Choking Fumes. So there's the normal Lost Spirit. And then the cool thing is, I should talk about that as well. I think I mentioned this in my other video when I was talking about the gameplay, but you start with this card. So on the very first turn, you summon the Lost Spirit from your material deck, and then that's what draws you your hand of 7 cards. So, you know, it's possible maybe they'll introduce some other spirits down the line that do different things. Maybe you draw more cards at a cost, or draw less cards and get some sort of a trade-off. There's a lot of design space around those opening plays even. Careful Study, Cram Session, Deflecting Edge. Dungeon Guide is super popular. It helps to level up your champion in a lot more efficient way than paying the straight up memory cost. You just get to level it up when it comes into play. Yeah, we're starting to see some duplicates and stuff here. So I think we have actually reached a point where we have gotten through all of the cards, but I'm just going to continue through. Oh, thought that was an alt art, but the Kingdom Informant foil has the alt art. It's got a female on there. Lots of waifu in this game for the weebs out there. Of course, the company is called Weebs of the Shore, so you know the audience that they are trying to target with the artwork. But you know, if you're not a fan of anime, honestly, the artwork is still beautiful for what it is. I am a huge anime fan, so this just fits in with my interest in TCGs and anime together. But even if you're not a fan of anime, the artwork is still beautiful and the gameplay is just absolutely phenomenal. There's so much depth of strategy, I just can't mention that enough. So come on down to Retroplay Games if you're in the area. Pick up a free demo deck if you want to give it a try. I'm more than happy to take the game for a spin with you. Or, you know, contact your local game store in your area, wherever you guys are from. Get them to ask their distributor about Grand Archive. Get them to get the demo decks in. Like, this game is such a refreshing change in a scene that feels like it's kind of gotten stale. Flesh and Blood still feels very fresh. So I've been having a lot of fun with that. But I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more from the Grand Archive team as well. Great job to Weebs of the Shore. Congratulations on your massive Kickstarter campaign. I am super jealous of the folks that have gotten a hold of Kickstarter boxes. Some YouTubers and content creators have had those Kickstarter boxes sent to them from Weebs of the Shore. So if any of you developers are watching this, please send me a box. I'd love to open it up on the channel and give those cards away to my local scene as prizing. And that's another great thing about this, is that the devs and the team behind Grand Archive are super engaged in the community. So, you know, you'll see them chatting and mingling with the players on the community Discord. They'll come in and check out games, play games with you. It's really refreshing to see that the team actually really cares about the customer base, really cares about the audience that they're trying to target. It's not just like, you know, some high up person in the ivory tower of profit like it might be at another company. Since they're a smaller team and a smaller company for the time being, they do take the opportunity to hang out in the Discord and engage with the community directly, which is great. Hold these up a little higher. Thank God, we're almost done. It's so many cards. Song of Return, Swift Recruit. Yeah, I think definitely we've gotten through all of the cards at this point, but we're almost done with this stack, so I might as well finish it. And then we'll throw a card in a sleeve, see what it looks like, and call it a day so I can get to actually sleeving up the rest of this collection. I shouldn't say collection. It's not actually real cards. And then just so you can see, there's no going to be any chance of passing any of this stuff off as counterfeits. There's no backs on them. The corners are square, like old Alpha Magic cards. So there's no worries if anybody had any concerns about that. These aren't going to be attempted to make their way into circulation as legitimate cards. Virtus, Gaia's Roar. And that is it. So I believe that takes us through all 288 cards. Now we're just going to grab one of these and we're going to toss it in a sleeve just for the sake of seeing what that looks and feels like. Oh yeah, perfect. It's great. Cut's maybe a little bit high on that. But I mean, that is absolutely perfect just for playtesting, you know, basic playtesting needs. Nothing wrong with that at all. Feels like a little bit not as springy as a real card. Like I said, the cardstock that I used isn't professional TCG cardstock, but this is more than enough for playtesting needs and trying out different deck ideas. So again, if you guys want to get a hold of this, it's a playset of every single card and one of each of the material deck cards, so it's literally the entire Alter Edition collection, everything you need to get going, start playtesting. I have a link in the description box below to the Google Drive where you can download this PDF file, you can take it, get it printed, and get started with Grand Archive. Thanks for watching, guys, and until next time, play on!